So, you think you've grown out of your mini drone? Hey, while it's nice to have the freedom to fly almost anywhere without restrictions, the small drone's shortcomings are catching up to you almost every time you fly. Well, what were you expecting? Those drones were designed to weigh less than 250 grams to meet a regulatory standard. It's really amazing how good they have become, but the limitations are real. Cameras aren't heavy, but you can make a better one when you don't have to worry about what it weighs. Motors, batteries, electronics, you name it. Once you add more features, more power, and a bigger frame for better control and stability in the air, 250 grams just doesn't cut it. If you're serious about creating drone footage specifically, you will eventually get to a point when you know it's time to upgrade. Well, there are two new requirements for you before you can. First, you have to pass a test to get your pilot license for basic operations. Then you have to get a drone and register it. So I guess that makes it 3. Hello and welcome to another video. This is part 2 of the series on getting your basic Canadian drone license. Without going into all the specifics, I'll be providing a rough overlook of what kind of questions you need to expect. As I've covered in the last video, you'll have to answer 35 questions within a 90-minute period. They're all multiple choice. One thing to mention is that it's not like a test in high school. You are allowed, even encouraged, to cheat. Yes, that's right, but there are limitations. They call it an open book test. You can have another screen open and Google the answers, or have some of your study materials right next to you and look them up that way. What you can't do is to get your uncle, who's a commercial pilot, do the test for you. It's also illegal to copy any of the questions and pass them on to your buddies. Do you want to know what kind of questions to expect? By the end of this video, you should have clarity on that, so let's get started. Questions cover 8 distinct topics, some of which seem to have little to do with drones. They're more about aviation in general. If you're completely new to that, some of the stuff may seem overwhelming at first, but we'll break it all down in future videos. I'll be making a video to cover each knowledge area by itself. So, what are the topics? Number 1 is called Air Law, Air Traffic Rules and Procedures. As you can imagine, there are rules you need to know from a legal perspective, but also for the safe operation of your drone. Procedures are practical guidelines on how to operate your drone safely in the real world. Those rules can all be found in the Canadian Aviation Regulations, sometimes referred to as CAR. To get a head start, find the link below, and once you got the right page, look for Part 9. Second, we have RPA airframes, power plants, propulsion, and systems. What is RPA? It means remotely piloted aircraft. So this part is about your drone and how it works from a physical standpoint. You learn about the structure, the motors, batteries, remote control, all that kind of stuff. How does it all work? Transport Canada issued the Aeronautical Information Manual. Link in the description. Section 3 is all about drones, and it has a lot of information on what is officially called an RPAS or RPAS, acronym for Remotely Piloted Aircraft System. I have an insider tip. Dawn Joyce has a video on the topic. It's called How Drones Work.
Ding, ding, ding.
An examination of drone and RC aircraft systems. It's well worth watching as the information is condensed and to the point. You won't find a better source. Third topic, human factors. We've all heard human error mentioned when it comes to all types of accidents, including aviation. In aviation, a lot of research has helped improve safety. Aircraft and even drones are designed in a way that consider the human element. But it's still important to know where humans are vulnerable. Things like fatigue, distraction, overconfidence, to name just a few. Transport Canada has brochures on the topic, but unfortunately, you can't download them for free. The best recommendation is the video Dawn's Study Guide, Human Factors for Drone Pilots in Canada, RPAS Basic and Advanced Exam Material by Dawn Joyce. Number 4. Meteorology. You probably know exactly what that means, but as a drone pilot, you're expected to understand the impact weather has on your flight. As you'll soon find out, there's more to it than wind, rain, and snow. Books and courses on meteorology can be expensive. Dawn Joyce has made a video about it, and it's free. Part 5. Navigation. Thanks to amazing drone apps, it's usually easy to know where your drone is, even if you don't stare at it. However, what if you had to report a flyaway? How would you communicate the location of your drone? You're expected to know basic navigation. This means you need to know latitude and longitude. Questions might be about navigational charts. They can be found on NAV Canada's website. There are also the Canada Flight Supplement and the Canada Water Aerodrome Supplement. Both, of course, cost money. Again, Dawn Joyce has videos on that too. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but definitely check out his channel. Number 6. Flight operations. It is about the entire process of managing all aspects of flight from start to finish, ensuring safety, efficiency, and compliance with the rules. There are certain patterns in which airplanes operate around aerodromes. It may not seem important to your little 2-pound drone at first glance, but you're expected to know the basics around it. It helps to keep you out of trouble for sure. The problem is that there isn't one single source of information to cover it all. I would recommend getting both the NAV Drone app, which is free, and the Drone Pilot Canada app, which is not, but which has all the checklists and written procedures you will ever need. You may want to become interested in general aviation. I found that watching the Mentor Pilot channel on YouTube really got me up to speed on flight operations generally, but it was a bit time-consuming. Let's move on to Part 7, Theory of Flight. As you can probably imagine, this covers the physical forces that are at play when an aircraft overcomes gravity and takes off. There are 4 forces at play: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. They interact in certain ways to enable flight. Some of the questions will have little to do with drones or quadcopters. You're expected to know what makes fixed-wing aircraft fly too. Expect to be asked about what certain components of an aircraft do and how they affect the flight. I found a good resource on the US FAA website called Airplane Flying Handbook. The link is below. Last but not least, it's radiotelephony. Manned aircraft communicate via radio. There are certain frequencies that are designated as aviation channels. This is where aircraft communicate with control towers. For better understanding, there is an established terminology, even a special way of spelling. As you can imagine, accurate communication is crucial when it comes to flying people around. As a drone pilot operating outside controlled airspace, you will only have to know some of the basics. It is good to become familiar with this type of communication, though, should you be planning to shoot for the advanced license at some point. To actually use a radio transmitter, you need an ROC, Radio Operator Certificate. I don't have one, nor have I ever used a transmitter. Still, I have my advanced license. Don Joyce has a 3-part series about it, radio knowledge for drone pilots. Let's summarize again. The topics are air law, air traffic rules and procedures, RPA, airframes, power plants, propulsion and systems, human factors, meteorology, navigation, flight operations, theory of flight, and radiotelephony. Let me know in the comments if you're still interested after finding out how much you're required to know. Especially since a lot of the material isn't even about drones. The key takeaway is that you'll be flying a real aircraft, not a toy, in real airspace where you might encounter the same conditions as manned aircraft pilots. I hope you're not discouraged, as passing the basic test is completely doable using the resources listed. I'll be adding videos to help you with each topic in the near future. If you're interested, just hit that subscribe button. You can also support me by liking this video. Thank you and see you soon. And by the way, you could buy me a coffee. Yeah, you could.